Hey, hello, what's happening? How are you? So, the idea is I'm going to try to see if I can live stream. It took me a little bit to try to figure all this stuff out. It took me a little bit to, University of Google. I had to figure it out. So, my idea was this last video. It had terrible audio, and that was obviously my fault by messing around too much with the audio, and you get into thinking that you're learning how to edit, and you really don't. So I was basically just going to recap this video and kind of go over some of the key points and just kind of chit chat. So there we go. Pretty proud of myself with this little thing on there. Took me probably about 8 times longer than someone that knows what they're doing. So the general idea behind this is on Lego YouTube, BrickLink things on YouTube, there's this term, it's called PABOBLO. It's an acronym for picking a BrickLink order. And if you do a search for it, Lego or BrickLink or something like that, there's tons of guys that produce that sort of content. So I wanted to try a variation of it using this overhead type of deal, the shaky overhead that I'm eventually going to have to figure it out. And I figured I'm going to pick a bunch of BrickLink orders. So, pretty clever little thing. I called it PABOBLO. Picking a bunch of BrickLink Lego orders. And again, I'm just trying to school myself on how to edit. I'm trying to school myself on how to do this. This is all shot on a cell phone camera. But, sometimes these things are a little bit interesting to watch. And I think just on the overhead, it's easy for me to do it. Obviously, there's a little tweaking that I need to do to kind of fix it all up. But it's easier to do it this way and then just kind of do a voiceover. But wouldn't you know it, my microphone for some reason cracks too, and I haven't figured that out. That whole crackle and the volume and all of this stuff, you have to excuse me. It's just, I really don't know what I'm doing. Just kind of figuring it out. Couple key points in this episode was I just wanted to discuss the giveaway, recap on the giveaway. Basically, on Monday, we do a podcast called The Brickdown, me and a gentleman named Vintage, on a game called Lego Legacy Heroes Unboxed. We're actually part of the content creator program on that, which sounds a little weird, but working on it. So in that game, we discuss all sorts of things. We've been doing it for the past few months. I've learned quite a lot. Obviously, my counterpart knows a lot more about these things than I do. He's got the gaming computer and all that stuff, and I'm just running on this one computer. I couldn't even figure out how to stream earlier. It took me so long. I had to figure out that I had to get a second display. So I hooked up an old TV. I got it hooked up over here, and lo and behold, it works, Try to figure it out, and you figure it out, and it works out. I think they're going to build a car. Oh yeah, the wobble. The wobble's coming. So basically, this overhead thing that I built, it's like 5.5 feet tall, and it just wobbles. Like any sort of little movement on the table, it's just like a ripple effect. It just compounds, and it just shows much, much worse in the video. So I think the idea is I'm going to try to come up with a way to fix it to the wall, and it'll eliminate that wobble. Who knows? Learn as you go. This is actually for a tensegrity. So if you see here, you see those chains? This is actually for a tensegrity build. It's parts for tensegrity, which is, if you don't know, I have one here. So JK Brickworks, he had a build that basically it's these chains, and it looks like that top thing is floating. So there's nothing holding it together or holding it up. It's just the chain. And I thought it was super, super interesting. It was running around all over the place, and everywhere you look with Lego, there was talking all this tensegrity stuff. So I took it upon myself. I BrickLinked a bunch of the parts I had, and I created a bunch of pre-made kits where basically you just have to get the instructions, pop it together. I think it's cool. It's a nice conversation piece. It's one of these things you put it on your desk at work, and people are like, "What in the world's going on?" Get to talk about Lego, and it's just super cool. So that's what these parts are, for sure, 100%. I've put my hands on so many of these tensegrity parts that's 100% what it is. These are those capes from that Harley Quinn set that just came out. The Harley Quinn sold super quick, and this is for 100 windows. I think I have all the glasses too, I'm not sure, but this guy just wanted the windows. So what I wanted to discuss was a couple of the key things. That last video, I apologize, it was super wonky, but I felt that I have to publish it because if you can just imagine, this is just kind of like a journey of basically 0 to 10. I'm just trying to figure certain things out, learning as I go. I have very little experience in any of these things, but I figure the more I put my hands on it, the more I try to figure it out, the more I'm going to learn. So I appreciate you kind of following along with this journey. It's kind of fun. I like it. I'm learning a lot. And I think it's cool. This is an international order. It's actually going out to South Korea. That was for Overwatch minifigures. I hope they come out with more Overwatch stuff. I'm not entirely sure if that's ever going to happen, but let's hope so. So what I wanted to discuss, one of the important things in that video is this giveaway for this set. Not this set, but the set that was built, the Bespin Duel set. So the guys from the Escape podcast, which has been a podcast for a different game. It's a Star Wars related game that I really have zero knowledge of. I don't know anything about it. It's called Star Wars Galaxy Heroes something. I don't even know what it is. Basically, they've been running a podcast for the past couple years, basically talking about this, that, and the other, and they've done very well. You know, it's just little by little they've grown their audience quite substantially. So I thought it was a good idea to collaborate with them, and that's when we had basically the official rollout of the giveaway. And the meat and potatoes of that is there's 3 ways to enter. 1, subscribe to this channel. 2, subscribe to the Escape podcast. And 3, subscribe to the Breakdown. All of the links will be in the bottom once I figure that out, after I figure out to see if this stream thing actually worked or not. And the best thing about it is all of the entries, they're going to stack. So, for example, if you subscribe to all 3, you will basically be entered 3 times. Now, one clarification. The Escape podcast is on Twitch. So whatever the free one is, it's whether follow or subscribe, whichever one the free one is, do that one on Twitch, and that's going to be an entry. The other thing that I'm learning too is there's public and private subscriptions. Make sure that if you subscribe to both the Breakdown or this channel, this Bricksburg channel, make sure that it's a public subscription. Otherwise, I won't be able to see it, and it won't count. So I just don't want to have any confusion there. Again, you gotta just bear with me. This is all kind of trial by error. But if you know anything about me, I've done some giveaways in the past, and they've all been very, very successful. Now, the other thing is... Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the South Korea one. This is for other minifigures. I think it was the Batman. I have no idea. I don't remember. But there was a couple international orders here. One of them was South Korea. The other one was Peru. Actually, just recently opened for international. I think it was maybe like 6 months ago or something, and learning a lot there too. Just learning a lot everywhere. Learn as you go. Take care of it. So the other thing I wanted to touch on is the Patreon. So with this is actually the set that's getting given away on the Patreon. Now, for anyone that has any questions or anything to that effect, it's very simple. Basically, there's 3 tiers. The highest tier is the golden tier. It's $24. This set here is $30 when you buy it, when you were able to buy it. So Lego.com, Target.com, they had it for $30 or $40. geez, I don't even know. I think it might be 40. So $40, you have the opportunity to pick this thing up for $24. I don't know. If that's not an opportunity, if you want the set, I think it's good. And especially with the odds being 1 in 3, those are pretty good odds. I can't really think of many things where you can get what you want at current 1 in 3 odds. Who knows? It's going to pick up. That drawing is going to be on the last Monday on the Brickdown. So the Patreon drawings go on the last Monday of the month. So that's going to be the 28th. Normal time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. So as long as you're in for the month of September by Monday, September 28th, and if you're in on the highest tier, you have the opportunity to get this bad boy in your hands. And again, that's going to ship free, everything, sealed. 100% sealed, no funny business. We've done some Patreons in the past for it, for other things. I think one of them was a Woo Dragon. We did that twice. We did like a Jay's Dragon. We did them on different tiers. You should be able to see it on the history of the Patreon. So, you know, we've got a small little community over there, and everybody's invited. That's the whole deal. Alright, so public subscription on YouTube so that we could see it and document it. Twitch on the Escape Podcast, whichever one is free. I think that's follow or subscribe. I don't know much about Twitch. Actually, I don't know anything about Twitch. So that's going to be something I'm going to have to probably figure out little by little as well. Yeah, that's it, really. So for this streaming setup, again, it took me a while to figure it out. I think it works. I'm not entirely sure. It might be like choppy, it might not look right. I don't really know. Hang on, I'm actually just going to set it, so just bear with me. I'm going to try to see if I can see something. It doesn't fill up. Let's see. It doesn't fill up the entire thing. Oh wow, there's people in here. Hello. How do I write? Hello. All right, to everybody watching, I appreciate it. Oh, you know what? I can actually fix this thing right here. Hey, hey. I think that works. Not entirely sure. There was that big black thing there, that big black bar on the thing. I didn't have it squared off. Hey, who knows? Figuring it out as we go. So the idea with this whole thing with the streaming setup, I had an idea. I wanted to do some sort of Q&A. I'd like to do maybe like a how-to series. I might have screwed that up. Nope. Oh boy. I'd like to do some sort of a how-to series. I'd like to connect with other people in the community. I think that would be super cool. Kind of have conversations and discuss things. Now, excuse me, my amateur novice skills here. I'm basically learning all of this stuff as I go. I have no background experience in any of this. I just find it super interesting. And I find it super cool to be able to connect with other people in the community. So the reason why I wanted to figure this out, I don't want to get all sorts of new equipment or anything to that effect, or really go down the deep end or any of that. I kind of just like doing it DIY and kind of what I have here. It doesn't need to be super crazy. But I'd like to create some form of value, whether it's discussions about current events, Lego things. I'd like to do tutorials with BrickLink for, people that don't know a lot on BrickLink. These are actually this is how I started the BrickLink store, these little trays. Brings me back. I've been doing the BrickLink thing for a couple years. So I get a number of newer customers, newer BrickLink users, and they always have a lot of questions, so I try to answer them. And I figure that I can come up with some form of a series, like a how-to, if you want to figure out, is it worth it for you to do a store? If, what it takes to get involved, just all of those things. There's a really big learning curve. The reason being is BrickLink itself, it's kind of you got to spend a lot of time and tinker around and kind of just figure it out. But that's what I'd like to kind of utilize this whole streaming setup thing for. I'd like to really, anybody that has questions regarding any of that stuff, I'd like to be able to be a source of information for that. Hopefully the sound works and everything kind of works here. It's not too choppy and weird or crazy, and everything kind of works okay. It's kind of what I'm hoping. But again, this is just a test. Wanted to figure it out. Just figure it out. Let me see if I can figure out where that other thing was. Oh, there it was. Craziest BrickLink story. So, all right, cool. In the thing. So basically, what got me into Lego? I got into Lego because my son was way too young for Lego, but I wanted to get him into it because of just having something tactile that you could touch. There's so many screens and all that stuff, but my son being so young, I wanted to be able to give him something that he could touch and feel and stuff like that. And what ended up happening is it started getting all over the place. And I was like, let's see if I can come up with some sort of a way to organize it. So that sent me onto the internet, that sent me onto figuring that stuff out, and that actually led me to BrickLink. And once I got into BrickLink, it sent me down a completely other rabbit hole where I'm figuring out parts and pieces. I got super, super interested into the parts and pieces of things. I got super interested in like the mocks, so my own creation stuff, and I got super interested in old sets. So there were like older sets that I was like want listing and kind of putting them together and just kind of just, you know, having my time on it. How do I do this here? So that's how I got into Lego. I got into Lego basically because I became a father. How I got into BrickLink, basically I got into that because of the just trying to organize and figure out parts. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm glad that this actually works and that you guys can actually hear me. I think that's super, super cool. Thanks for subscribing, Steven. Appreciate that. And, you know, I gotta thank you guys for coming in and kind of watching me get through this thing. I'll give you a, let me see if I can do this. I'll give you guys a little peek into the store itself. So, let me see, what's the best way to do this? Let's go here. Alright, so this is BrickLink for anyone that doesn't know. Oh, this is going to be fun. So, this is the store. Alright, now we're cooking. So this is actually the tensegrity set that I was talking about earlier. I was able to kind of put them together, source down all the parts. I figured when I was trying to do like a wanted list of it, it cost about 25 bucks with, well, at that time what was going on is that there was parts from all over the place. So it would be multiple sellers and it was just kind of a mess. The things that I typically look at when I'm buying from a store is I try to look at it like a 99.9 higher. For some reason, there's always going to be someone that leaves you bad feedback that may or may not be warranted. So in the 2 years, we've had 2,278 orders and 84 fans. Wow, I haven't really looked at this in quite a bit. And then you can actually see here, these are kind of the newer minifigures that were just put up. This was that set that I parted out in the first video where I was trying the overhead rig. And then this is kind of like bulk parts, and there's kind of a lot of stuff there. I'll give you a little quick one before I have to go here. Let's just say, for example, what are we going to look at? Lego house. Hang on just a second. Alright. 21037. Alright, so good example here. Let's look at a set 21037. So this set here is the Lego house. It is exclusive to Billund. So if you go to the Lego house, this set is apparently for sale. You can see here in the metrics, you see that basically $161 current listed, and the average selling is actually $119. I like to do group by currency. So this basically shows you in the US, the cheapest one is going to be here. Let's take a look at this seller. Decent seller. So exactly what I was saying, only from the Lego house. So you're gonna basically pay roughly $200. Now the idea, and we actually did this on the Brickdown, is you take this and you can part it out on your wanted list. So for example, we'll part this out on the wanted list. This is the set. It's 774 parts. You don't need the original box. You don't need the instructions. I guess you could just get that. You could just get that digitally, and we're gonna call this wanted list 21037. And just for ha-has, I would set this up for new. I usually like to work with new parts for the most part. It just minimizes errors or issues or any kind of tomfoolery for the most part. And when you click on it, this basically gives you all of the quantity, and it gives you all of the parts needed for the build. And then you can see there's a lot of tiles, so on and so forth. Now mind you, this is very difficult where I am in the United States. It's very difficult to get this set. It's been discussed many times. It's very difficult. Every once in a while it'll pop up where you could buy the set, but you gotta kind of be on top of it. So with this set here, what you'd be able to do is you can add it to wanted list. So now it basically parted out the set, all of the quantities, and then this is your wanted list. Now just for quickness, so it's 102 lots, 700 some odd pieces. So just for the quickness, you can actually just go to buy all. In these settings, set it to, wherever you are, US dollar. I like using instant checkout. Dislike stores, I don't really have any dislike stores, but if I did, I wouldn't want them on there. You want to take out stores that don't ship to you, and stores with lots that are below the wanted quantity. Basically what that's going to do is, you don't want to get one of the same part from multiple people. And then just auto select, and look, this is just a quick way to do it. And what you're looking at here is right here, pre-shipping, you're able to basically part this set out and build it from, if you had none of the parts, from 4 stores and $92.55. So for example, you can buy this set for $200, or you can part out this particular set for $92.55. Plus shipping, you want to figure it's going to be like $4 per store. So basically 4, 8, 8, and 8, 16. It's going to be about $16. So it's going to run you about $108. And then you can just check out. I mean, this is basically the skinny of it. And obviously this set is a good one to be able to do that because 1, you can't get the set. It's very difficult to get the set. And 2, the parts aren't necessarily all that rare or anything crazy like that. So, give you an example, on the Brickdown, when I was teaching Vintage about BrickLink, that was a set that he had wanted to get involved in, and we were able to put that together. And you can find that whole thing on the Brickdown. I have a couple sets that I'd like to put together. I think one of them being the lightsaber that just came up. So that's my little story on the whole BrickLink thing. I'd like to do some sort of what do you call it? I'd like to do some sort of tutorials. I'd like to do all sorts of stuff. Hey, just got 100 subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you, so can't type. Thank you so much. Look, I appreciate you guys hanging out with this stream. Hopefully it worked. If you guys have any requests or any sort of things that you'd like to learn about or discuss or anything to that effect, by all means let me know. Appreciate you guys hanging out. I'm going to try to do this again. I'll have it a little bit more, I guess, figured out and whatnot. Again, this was a test. Glad that from what I see, the test works out. Hopefully this microphone doesn't pop. Remember, this thing, we're giving it away on the Patreon. We're giving away the one that I had built. We're giving that one away. That drawing is going to be, again, it's going to be on Thursday. It's going to be 1 week from today, Thursday, and it's going to be on the Escape Podcast. That's over on Twitch. The link should be on the bottom below. Appreciate you guys hanging out and bearing with me through all this thing. Just trying to figure it out. I really, really appreciate it. See ya.